Hi everyone, welcome back to our New York homestead. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some vintage antique pieces that I have thrifted or found from estate sales, antique shops, everything under the sun. I'm really excited about this one. This one has been on my back burner to show you guys for quite a while, and I'm very excited to share. So I have down in front of me a list of all the things I'm planning on showing, and with that the prices of everything to the best of my ability. Some things I remember a lot better than others. I'm going to try and tell you to the best of my memory how much everything was. So let's jump in and get started. Alright, what should I start with first? Start with something simple and easy, which would be this blue gingham tablecloth. It's not huge, it's not like a big regular sized tablecloth. I was using it as a runner for quite a long time. I just took it off recently to wash it, and I found this at an estate sale. To the best of my memory, I think it was between $3 or $5 for this tablecloth. They had a red matching one as well that I almost picked up, but from what I remember, I think it had holes in it, like mouse holes and stuff, so I didn't pick that one up. But I did get the blue one. I have really enjoyed having it on our little farm table, our farmhouse table, and I am really excited to put it back out now that it's cleaned and washed. But this is my first piece, and I'm calling it vintage antique because the house I got it from, there was a lot of vintage stuff in there. Very old. There's also no tags on this. It feels like 100% cotton, and it's pretty decent quality for how old I'm assuming that it is. I'm slowly easing up to my favorite bits and pieces in this haul. I'm also tempted to do just a farmhouse decor haul. This is more centered into vintage antique pieces, but I have a lot more that is farmhouse centered, so that could also be a video. Let me know in the comments down below if you're interested in seeing something like that. Next up, butter paddles. This one seems kind of random, but I really love these. They're just really cool, unique pieces. I got them at two separate locations. One I got here in New York, and the other one I ended up picking up when we went vacationing in Maine. We stopped at an antique store. We stopped at a couple antique stores actually. And I'm trying to remember what one came from where. I think this one came from the vintage antique store in New York, and this one came from Maine. I remember the one in Maine was only $1 because I have a couple other pieces from that antique shop as well. This was only $1. I don't remember how much this one was. $5 or $6, I think. It was a little bit more expensive. So they are definitely different. I'll show you an up close of them so you can kind of get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. This one is a lot wider. If you see, it's like the width of my hand, and it has pretty small ridges, and this one is not quite as narrow and the ridges are a little bit wider apart. The handles are also a different thickness as well. I love just adding neat little antique pieces, little vintage pieces like this to all of my farmhouse decor. It just gets me really excited. We'll continue on with the rest of the stuff that I found from this one particular antique shop in Maine, which would be this sort of wooden spoon spatula, and actually this muddler that you would use for cocktails. I don't have a muddler like this, which is why I grabbed it. Again, everything from this one particular antique store was only $1, so it was kind of a no-brainer for me. And this one's pretty neat because if you look at the side, it's almost like carved on an angle. It's a very cool like wooden spoon spatula that I've used many times already now. Pieces like this are just so cool and interesting to me, and that's why I always end up picking them up. As we increase in my favoritism of all these pieces, the next and last thing from this one specific antique shop in Maine is this brass candle snuffer, which I didn't even know this was called a candle snuffer. had to, whenever I find vintage antique pieces, I like to try to research them before I buy them, see when they're from, how much they would be if you were to try to resell them. Not that I ever would, but I'm always just curious. And with this, I didn't know how to look it up because I know it's what you use to take the light out of a candle, but I didn't know it was called a snuffer. So now that I know, maybe you didn't know either, now you know, but it is a brass snuffer. It is beautiful. Angel ended up buying this for me. I wanted to buy it, but I remember being a little bit pricey. I think it was maybe $20 or $25 if I'm remembering correctly. I really don't know, but I know I didn't want to buy it because it was a little bit pricey, but I really did love it, and so because I loved it, he bought it for me. But it is a gorgeous piece. I love the detail on the handles. I've already used it, of course I've already used it many times, and when it comes to brass pieces like this, I have researched and found that the best way to clean pieces like this is with salt and lemon juice. And so that's what I did. I cut a lemon in half and I just got some regular kosher table salt and buffed it up, shined it up, and now she's like new. I love this piece so much. It's such a cool, unique piece, and I cannot wait to use some more. Next up we will go with this. I have been looking for, and I'm still on the hunt for, a cast iron matchbox. I would really, really, really love to add one of those to my collection, but I'm going to start with this vintage matchbox. There is what appears to be some sort of branding or name on the back. I can't make out what it says. I have tried to do the paper and crayon trick to make out what the words are in the letters. I can't, I really don't know, but maybe you know just from looking at this one what the brand is or from when it's from. There's a couple of layers of paint on this. It's not gonna stay red. I will eventually paint it, but I got this one so recently and I kept the little tag on for you guys to show you. It was $5. I am super stoked to hang this up and to get a box of matches to put in there. It gets me really, really excited, but I have been looking for one like this, and again, I am still on the hunt for a cast iron one as well. I just think they're so neat and they're so cool, and I like candles all the time. I'm constantly using matches and lighters, and this would be just a really neat way to continue to incorporate that into my homesteady, farmy life. I have this. I believe it's silver plated. I don't think it's truly all silver. I think it's just a silver plated butter dish. We've had this for quite some time. We got it, I think, back in March or April of this year, so several months now. And I remember this one was, I think, $8 or $9. It was either $8 or $9. I don't remember exactly, $8 or $9. I think it was maybe closer to $9 for this butter dish. And I actually use it for butter all the time. I do take some silver polish every now and again and just wash it up, clean it, and then polish it. I did that somewhat recently, but if you can see on the top, the tarnish is coming back, but that's okay. It's just part of what makes it a vintage piece. I did research on this one as well because the brand for this one is Crescent, and I believe this is from the 50s or 60s based on my research, if I'm remembering correctly. I love it so much, and it just makes my kitchen feel a little bit more vintagey and homey, and gives me the farmhouse feel that I'm always going for. And there is a glass dish in the bottom as well, so my butter is not touching the silver plated material. We'll go with this because I feel like this piece is what really started my love and hunt for vintage antique farmhouse pieces, and that is this Bromwell Sifter. Bromwell has been a brand for over 100 years, and they're still making sifters today. Their design is unique just to them because it helps with people who, if you have, say, maybe a disability or a lack of function in your hand, or if you're a little bit younger even, it makes it really easy to use because all you're doing is holding it with your hand and simply cranking, whereas they have ones where you kind of squeeze the handle, or more complicated ones where you have to actually like tap it and sift it. This is literally just the handle and the spindle. I went into kind of a deep dive when I found this, and it got me really, really excited and really interested in this brand. I also use this all the time. I think this one is probably from, if I had to guess, maybe the 50s or maybe even a little bit sooner, but I think this one is from the 50s or 60s. It still works. Sifts like a dream. It gets all the clumps out. It does everything that you would want a sifter to do. And this one I found at my local Savers actually, and I was pretty excited about it, even though I didn't know about the brand yet at all. And this one was only $2.50. I love it. I love it so much. It's such a cool, unique piece of kitchen history, which always geeks me out because I went to culinary school and did baking and everything, and it makes me excited to have a little piece of American kitchen history in my kitchen now. This piece, which is a salt box. I watch a lot of Farmhouse on Boone. She's a really big inspiration for me, and I was watching one of her antique hauls and she had found a salt box one time, and I was like, oh wow, that seems really interesting, different. I had never heard of anything like that before, and I ended up going to this, like a vintage market almost. It was like a big warehouse with a whole bunch of vintage items in it, and I found this. But I thought it was so cool and so neat. This one was a little bit pricier. There was another matching piece for this set that I did not pick up. It wasn't a salt box, it was something else. Maybe a sugar box was a matching set with this. This one I think was closer to $40, $35 or $40. I still think it's super cool. I keep it out on my kitchen counter. I put pink Himalayan salt in here, that's my salt of choice, and I have this nice little wooden top. The only thing that was wrong with it when I bought it was that the top, one of the corners here, didn't have an extra nail, so it wouldn't, you know, open and close correctly. So I ended up getting a teeny tiny little nail from my dad and stuck it in, and now it works beautifully. I don't know much about salt boxes. I did not do a deep dive on salt boxes. Let me know in the comments down below if you have more knowledge about them or if you're more familiar. I just think it's really cool. I have no idea when this piece is from, how old it would be, but I think it is super neat, very unique. There's no cracks in it, no like weird bubbles or chunks missing out of it. It is a super neat piece. 3 more items to go through in this haul. I'm saving my absolute favorite items for last, and we are going to jump in with another pretty recent find from another estate sale in New York. These brass candlestick holders. Tell me they're not. Absolutely gorgeous. I remember at the estate sale I was trying to bargain with the guy to get him a little bit cheaper. I think they were $6 for the pair. We went back and forth for a minute or two. I think he ended up giving them to me for $3 or $2.50, something like that. $2.50, $3, something along those lines. Again, I cleaned them up with just some salt and some lemon. They have a really nice weight to them. Just some gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous candlestick holders. From that same estate sale that I got the candlestick holders, I also picked up this bowl, and I really love this bowl. It's a great size. We usually keep produce in here, honestly, on our dining room table, and I know I paid, I think it was $15 or $20 for this bowl. And if you know anything about antique vintage bowls, you're probably asking yourself, is it a McCoy bowl? It is not a McCoy bowl. I thought it was upon first glance, but I just love the blue and the cream, and that did not deter me from picking this bowl up. I really like it. Like I said, it's a great size. It fits my aesthetic. It matches the farmhouse feel that I'm going for. But speaking of bowls, and speaking of McCoy bowls, my favorite and last part of this haul are McCoy bowls. I have another McCoy bowl just like this actually in my fridge right now. It's holding some onions. But my McCoy bowls, I am a sucker, sucker, sucker for McCoy bowls. I'm always on the look for a McCoy bowl. I got this one and the other one that I have in my refrigerator off of Facebook Marketplace, actually. The pair was $30, which I thought was not terrible because these bowls can go for a lot of money. They can really be very expensive. I love a McCoy bowl. It is always on my list when I am thrifting or out antiquing. And if you can see on the bottom, it has the number 8 for the size, and then the McCoy branding in the middle. I just think pieces like this are so freaking cool. I love them so much. And that is it for my vintage farmhouse antique haul. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and are enjoying this new style of content on my channel. If you have any more ideas or suggestions of what I should make, different videos that you want to see me do that are all about my new content, which is all things sourdough, country living, and homemaking, again, please let me know in the comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you would like to, and I will see you all in my next video.